Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm using Upgrade 42, which is a very spring themed box. They've sent this watercolor paper and some Vivia watercolor sheets. I'm really excited to try these. I've heard of them, I've wanted to try them for ages. I've tried a similar product by Peerless Watercolors and I have been meaning to get these for a while, so I'm really happy I got them in a box. These colors look amazing, and there's 4 pearlescent colors in the back as well. There's also this one green pencil. I don't think it's a watercolor pencil, just a pencil, and fine liner. Let's try these out. They're very vibrant, wow. And I love that they're not as messy. The Peerless watercolors were very messy cards. You had to handle the cards as they were. Whereas these cards are a lot smaller, but because they come in this little booklet with the smudge-proof sheet in between, my hands are still clean, and I've almost swatched all of them now, so these are brilliant. Yes, the colors are just amazing. And I quite like the brush they've included. It's a travel brush, and it's a really comfortable size. These last 4, doing slightly bigger swatches just to see the pearlescence on them. Yeah, they kind of sparkle. You see that? That's brilliant. Yeah, very vibrant colors, and as you can see, a little goes a long way with these. The prompt for this box is Life Wakes Up, and the name of this color palette is the Spring Set, so I'm getting very much a nature vibe. I think I'm going with some kind of landscape with blooming flowers or something. Let's see how it comes out. I'm getting this really strong feeling that I want to see bright blue skies, so I've penciled down a few kind of hilltops just so I can get a bit of depth through perspective. Maybe have some trees in the back hilltops and flowers in the front. Because these are essentially watercolors, I'm just using a bit of scrunched up tissue to lift off some color to create cloud effect. And watercolors don't really have a white, so the only white is the white of the paper. And then I use a little bit of paint. I want to make a purplish color to create the shadows on the bottoms of the clouds. I just sprayed my picture when flicking the brush to lift off color. I'll try and fix that later, paint over it or something. I don't actually want these to be too dark, so I'm dabbing it dry. As soon as I put down some paint, I kind of dab off the excess, and I get a little bit of the shadows without darkening the skies too much, as it were. Okay, so remember earlier when I flicked some paint I didn't want onto this? I can't get rid of it, so I'm going to use this stuff called Brush X. This was actually sent in an upgrade box. I can't remember how long ago, but it's from a previous upgrade box, and what it does is it removes watercolor from any page. It only works in watercolor, but I've decided to kind of add the top line of a cloud as well. It basically turns the paper back to white. I think it's given my clouds a nice little highlight and gotten rid of that horrible stain. I just wasn't planning to have anything bright orange back there. So I'm doing the furthest hilltop in the darkest color with just adding a few vertical lines on the contour so it looks like there's trees growing off of it, like distant forest kind of thing. And I've got the furthest side of it more in the shadow, and the light source feels like it's kind of top center. It's a bright sunny day, so it's catching a bit of light on the closest central side of it. The second hilltop is a much lighter green because obviously it's closer to us, and I'm adding more kind of tree shapes sort of more visible as trees, and again lighter side in the middle because again light coming from the top center. I'll add more trees in a minute, and the front hilltop is going to be very, very bright light green full of flowers. At such a vast distance you can never really expect to see any detail of trees, so I'm just adding dots and lines to almost give it like the texture of a forest as opposed to a plain. On this closer hill I'm doing a little bit more to give them sort of like the shape of trees, but again not too much because it is really far away. But closer to the top we can kind of see the peaks of trees. Adding a little bit sort of more tree shapes, but for the most of it just paying attention to where the darker side of the hill is, and in some places I'm gonna leave it like there's different densities in the forest, so you will see more trees in some places and less in others, so back to dots and dashes. Also adding a few little tree shapes in the bottom edge where I think you might be able to see them more. I'm mixing in a good amount of yellow for this front hill because, well, for one, it's in the light, and two, it's grass rather than trees. I've given it that just solid yellow edge to separate it from the background kind of hills, and also because the grass is fully kind of soaked in the light at this point and it almost glistens. I will be adding green kind of lines to make it look more like grass, but for now just giving it solid base coat. Also had this idea to dab out a bit of color for the flowers, but it's not working very well, so I'm just gonna paint them on later. I used a good amount of water here, so I have to wait for it to soak into the paper, because while it's wet I won't be able to draw any kind of blades of grass. I want to be able to see definition. I'm going to try it with this green pencil, see if that works. It doesn't seem to be showing up on the swatches, but no, it's not doing very much. I'm just going to have to wait for it to dry properly and then paint them. In order for the grass to feel like it has the right kind of texture, I'm going to be using a few different greens. I'm using the same green for now, in places more watered down and in places more kind of vivid, and then just adding different greens. And again, grass tends to flow in different directions, but I'm keeping it mostly in the same directions, almost like there's a bit of wind or something, but with some of them going up in the opposite direction because it's just wild grass. I just want it to kind of be all over the place. Because these are watercolors, I don't want to cover the entirety of the grass area with these little dashes, because with watercolors you can't paint a lighter color over darker color. If it was oils it wouldn't matter, but because these are watercolors I want to make sure I leave some light areas so the flower's actually visible. I'm trying this brush X again in a couple of places, just giving it a few dots so that the lighter flowers would actually be more visible. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more random art. Thanks, see you soon!